When you look at this before and after eyebrow, what do you notice? Aside from the fact that they both look pretty good, the after is obviously fuller, fluffier, more modern. But when you look at this, what do you notice? You guessed it. You notice that the ends are a little bit on the shorter side. It's a bit lifted. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. I know she's got great eyebrows, but I promise you, you will get something out of this. So let me show you how to do that. Hey everybody, it's Jasmine, your brow expert, and I should be a brow expert if I'm not already. So please click the subscribe button, which helps me to give you every week a different kind of tip here and there with eyebrows. Because, you know, let's face it, it is I believe, the most difficult thing to get it natural. You know how like you say it takes more makeup to look like you don't have makeup? Well, it's going to take a little bit here and there to make it look like you got the best eyebrow. I have been shaping eyebrows at the Anastasia salon in Beverly Hills. I still shape brows there. I've been there for over 25 years. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, you want to get your brows shaped, I wax and I tweeze and I give you the best shape possible with some makeup advice, of course. So definitely come by if you're in the neighborhood. Even though these eyebrows are really nice, you may not relate with her brow because you're saying you have sparse, thin, or no brows at all. Please stick around because I know you'll get something out of this, and definitely share this if you feel someone else can get some tips here and there. So let's get to the model. You know, it's not easy to get clients giving me their consent using their eyebrows. So I am grateful that she gives me her consent. But I still keep their eyes closed just so that they stay protected. Anyway, so yes, beautiful eyebrows, right? But the ends are obviously very different. As we mature, I talk about this all the time, the ends are better shorter. If you have ends, even if you don't feel like you have a lot of brow hair going down here, it will give the illusion that your eyes are dragging down, right? So here's the other area that I want you to look at. That is the adjustment right here. Those are the two areas I'm going to focus on with this eyebrow. Obviously, the most important area is right here, right? The hair is just, for her, is thick and it grows far down. So just even doing that is going to make a big difference. You're going to notice when I shape her eyebrows without any makeup how much of a difference it did make. And with that little adjustment down here, because I always feel like I have to fix a little bit down underneath that pocket because so many of us over tweeze that area, or we just don't have a lot of density right in that lower middle pocket. So just by adding a little bit of color down below and getting rid of some of the ends down below here, it's just going to make a big difference. But here's something else before you see me shaping our eyebrows or after it's shaped. If you get rid of some of that end right there with a little bit of concealer, that can make a big difference. Because if you're not sure to take those hairs out and you're not sure how much hair you have towards the end of the eyebrow, the outside end, do that. You know, just put a little bit of concealer or this highlighter and see if it makes sense for you. Then you could commit to tweezing some of those hairs, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Especially as you age, we again want that lift. I want that lift. And most, if not all my clients, no matter the age, they all want that lift, right? Which is why it's gotten a little bit too trendy where it's too straight and out. You got to have that balance. Okay, so here's the balance. This eyebrow above is obviously wax and tweeze, and it looks like, you know what? She doesn't need anything. I know it's frustrating. I'm sorry for using her, but I'm just grateful she's letting me use her eyebrows. But just by looking at the before, it is a big difference. And what do you notice here? It looks like her brows are fuller, right? When you get rid of some of the hairs you don't need, it gives it more of a defined, thicker look. So remember that as well. This is something I always encourage everyone to do. I'm right-handed, so I'm doing my left eyebrow. If you put this underneath your eyebrows, just on the skin, you notice that little open area. Whoever, I don't care how round or how thin your eyebrows are, you're going to notice a little bit of open gap area, which is going to be so much easier to apply the color. Here I'm using the medium brown Brow Wiz pencil. If you have her hair coloring, you can probably get away with taupe as well. Medium brown is just a little bit darker. When you're applying color on more skin than when there is hair, you just want the hair to be darker, you want to go a little darker. But I like to use a light hand, light pressure. So that way the shade is perfect for the hair, but it's not too dark. By using light pressure, I promise you, you will ensure that. Okay, so try using, if your hair color, try using something like medium brown. But again, you can use taupe as well. For me, I like to use ash brown with the brow wiz. If you're my coloring and you don't want much warm tones in it because you're more ashier, even salt and pepper will benefit from ash brown. So right over here, I froze this area because I want you to see, oh, yes, I'm right-handed again. I mean, here's obviously very easy, right? Holding the pencil this way. But when you're doing this other eyebrow, if you're ambidextrous, good for you. I'm not really good at that. But right here, this is how I'm holding the pencil. Look at my thumb. And I'm holding it here because at the edge, you can go right inside that pocket that I showed you earlier. That's what makes it so easy to just go right in here. And it allows me to apply lighter pressure. I'm not pressing really hard when I'm laying it down, when I'm holding it above the eyebrows. Now, up in the front, that's where I want it very, very light. Obviously, she has hair, but for those of you that have little strands and you want some color up in the front, but you don't want it so dark and garish, which easily can happen. The front can easily get darker than the rest of the eyebrows. So you notice, again, I'm still doing my left eyebrow with my right hand. I'm laying the pencil sideways and I'm just doing this. So that way I ensure that it doesn't get so dark. This is the area that you might have not, obviously you didn't notice until I combed the hair down. If I have an old brow tattoo, so I'm going to pretend I'm combing my hair down, but comb the hair down right over here. That's when you notice that it's obviously very sparse, even for her. And there's not a lot of color, right? So if that's the arch area, middle of the nostril, over the iris in an angle. I always like to stay closer to the pupil, the outside pupil. The further you go out in an angle, not all, obviously right down here, the more of a corner lift you get. Keep that in mind. So play with it. But it's in an angle over the iris right here. That's the arch. And I usually tell my clients, make a little mark if you have to, so that way you know where it is. Okay, so that's, I don't think I did it on this model, but I do it plenty of times in the other videos. You definitely want to check out the measurements. Okay, so here, this is what I want you to do is just draw that little outline in the outside corner. Did you notice again that I'm holding the pencil laying down? On her, I'm behind her, so I'm this way, right? Then I'm filling inside the eyebrows. Just very, very simple. Again, laying down. Oh, here's a measurement right here. Again, middle of the nostril. Her eyes are closed, but that's why I want you to see me. Over in an angle, right like so. Not here, not in an angle this way. You notice it's kind of in the middle of the eyebrow. You want it more this way, okay? So keep that in mind as well. Again, it's makeup. Try out the few angles and see what's best for you because your face might be a little bit wider or very narrow. So that also plays a little part in that. That's why you want to play around with it. So after you apply the color, do the measurement again and see if it's in the right spot. But don't worry about getting it perfect because you're not going to get it perfect. Okay, so the more you perfect try to get it, the off it looks for the rest of the eyebrow. So once the hair has been combed up, did you notice how beautiful that is? Okay, so perfect, right? And so here I'm using the Brow Freeze gel. The gel can be intense if it's a lot, meaning if you use a lot of it. You got to be really careful. You could also get away with the clear brow gel. I chose the freeze gel because, and first of all, look at the hairs on the bristle. One side is obviously much longer than the other. I always use a longer side, and when you pull it out, it gets real gummy, so make sure you get rid of that. I always use the longest side to apply the product and just light pressure. Again, it's light pressure. You don't want to paste it and make it too thick. That's when you just go over, and I do go over it with a clean spoolie brush just to spread out the product. So make sure you do that, okay? This one I could probably use my left hand as well. Not a big deal because it's not about getting it perfectly on there more than just getting it on there, right? Okay, so beautiful, fluffy, full eyebrows. You know, if you do a little bit of the freeze gel and a little bit of pencil down below here and a little bit outside here. I don't know if you noticed, but when I did the corner here, I went further out. As opposed to dragging it down here, I went out here as if I'm going towards my tip of the ear this way, right? right here. That's a good way to just kind of reach for. And I promise you get that brow lift. So here, a little goes a long way, a little lift down below and a little color down below here. Both of it is down below. The one thing I want you to remember when you're applying color is apply color inside your eyebrow, but not as much as you're outlining the eyebrows. And to get a higher lift, say you want a higher arch, right? You would just add color at the tip of that corner above the brow line and go higher, higher, then you'll get it higher here. And the ends, you still need that end, right? You want to fill inside here, but not going this way like I showed you earlier. Go out and fill outside the brow line. If you have brow hairs, that I don't, but you do, and when you comb it down, you can see the outside edge of your brow ends, right? So that's where you want to focus on the outside edge as opposed to inside or the lower edge of your brows. So that way you prevent it from dragging down. It's the most important thing I want everyone to understand, especially when you're maturing in age, right? You want that end to be lifted. So I'm always going to do videos like this because I really feel that this is very, very important. And please share this with anyone that can use this brow lift tip. I don't care the age, no matter the age, right? And again, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I hope these tips have helped you. All the products, including my makeup, will be written in the description, so don't worry about that. But I do tag them if you want to quickly buy it that way. Unfortunately, not every product it comes up on the YouTube tagging, but that is why I want you to look at the descriptions as well. So thank you for your time, and I will see you next week.